r/AskReddit. What black market did kids at your school run? I went to a private high school with a strict dress code, ties, belt, etc. So I bought a bunch of ties and belts from a thrift store and ran a lucrative rental business out of my locker. Rende swagger/unexpected pawnee. I was in elementary school when pogs were big. Everyone had cool slammers and stuff, but I didn't have money for good ones. My dad made one out of 1/2 inch mild steel for me and used an engraving pen to make a simple pattern. Everyone was asking me where I got them from. I didn't wanna lose my unfair edge, but I also knew I could make money. My dad had a big sheet of this 1/2 inch steel. I told them I was the only one who could get them. I sold them for $15 a pop. My dad kept 10, I got 5. And that's when I learned what overhead was. Used to crush up warheads and mix them with sugar. Sold them by the straw with the ends, melted 50 a piece. Hey kid, want some death sticks? You don't want to sell me a death stick. You want to go home and rethink your life. My school used the metallic ends of pencils as a currency. Bronze was rarest, so it was the most expensive. Green was most common, so it was the least. We traded for erasers or pencil cases or a spot up in the Foursquare line. Eventually got banned, but we still operated with people acting as banks to keep the currency hidden and to keep transactions hidden. It's actually pretty impressive to trade and maintain value of a fiat currency like that. Apple laptops in middle school, some had iTunes, some didn't, and the kids wanted it, so I apparently was the only one who knew how to transfer the installer with my USB. I put it on everyone's laptop for gifts, favors, etc. in return. Got caught by the sub that day. I told her it was my flash drive, I could do what I wanted with it. And that's how I got my second detention of my life. Edit. Gifts were typical middle schooler shit. Yu-Gi-Oh cards, fruit snacks, best food trades during lunch, gain in popularity and hang out with the cool people. Obviously they were taking advantage of me, but I didn't mind. Cuban sandwiches straight out a duffel bag before school. They were bomb, cheap and way better than the lunch in the cafeteria. Best sandwiches ever. I grew up in Tampa, and I miss being able to go to Ybor City for a real one. The few places in California I have found that sell them all put mayo on them. Makes me so mad, so now I just make my own using a slow cooker to do the pork. I have family in New York, and would go visit a couple times a year back in high school. Every once in a while we'd visit Chinatown in New York City, and I'd end up buying $100s worth of fake watches, Rolex, Tag, Guxy, etc. Return to school and sell them for double than what I paid for them. A lot of people still do this. They fly off to China, buy cheap knockoffs and sell them for a huge markup wherever they're from. It's big business here in the Philippines. Silly bands. I remember a kid made like $50 one day. Wanting to get in on this craze, I remember saving up for a month and going to the dollar store and buying a couple dozen packs of these damn things. Only when I got home, I realized these packs were the ones that always contained exactly the same ones in every pack, and nobody thought they were cool or wanted any of them. About a month later they went completely out of style. It kept me up at night for a while. In high school, this guy sold socks in the hallways. I'd ask why there was a market, but I'm not sure I want to hear the answer. I went to school with a lot of emo kids and apparently, socks ruined the look of Converse and Vans. The gym teachers hated it, so if you weren't wearing socks, you couldn't participate, and you got an F for the day. The only guy in the school whose family had proper TV channels used to tape wrestling events and rent them out. That late 90s ECW was hard to get a hold of. My buddies and I would pool money to watch the PPV events at my house and always recorded them on VHS. Unfortunately my mother saw an especially bloody ECW match, so we could only order WWE events. Luckily I was always nice to the 2 ICAP kids, and they had all of the ECW shit. They would always loan me tapes to copy over the weekend, and on Monday we would be so excited to talk about them. When I was in the 6th grade, a teacher sold candy in between classes at marked up rates. A student decided to undercut her. That put an end to all candy sales. My high school had a film club that would shoot short films, thus needing some equipment. The teacher in charge of it would raise money for it by buying bulk boxes of candy bars and Pop-Tarts at Costco and sell them between classes for $1 each. He always had a line out the door of his classroom. Eventually he got shut down because the cafeteria manager complained that students buying snacks at school apparently kept them from buying the pig slop food the cafeteria served. Cinnamon toothpicks were all the rage in grandma's school. Same at mine. We had a guy who was selling them for 25 cents a pop until the teachers finally shut down his business. I've never heard of cinnamon toothpicks before. What was their appeal? Did people suck on them? Locker accessories such as carpets and magnets. Carpets? How big were your lockers? Only a few hundred square feet. The fireplace was really disappointing because it was only gas. These little game coupons that our teacher gave out for winning class quiz games. Right when people were starting to get scanners/printers in their own homes, some kid made copies of his coupons and sold or traded them to other students. Edit: since I have some people asking what the coupons could be traded for, it was usually a piece of candy or a pencil with a fun print or something similar. I think the kids ended up getting caught like 2 weeks into the scheme. Edit 2. A lot of people are comparing this to Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which I've heard of but never read before. I think kids are just clever and do this kind of thing on their own because a lot of people in the replies had similar things happen in their own schools as well. I don't know if this is where the kid got his idea or not, but this may have been before those books came out. The only guy in the school whose family had proper TV channels used to tape wrestling events and rent them out. That late 90s ECW was hard to get a hold of. My buddies and I would pool money to watch the PPV events at my house and always recorded them on VHS. Unfortunately, my mother saw an especially bloody ECW match, so we could only order WWE events. Luckily I was always nice to the 2 ICAP kids, and they had all of the ECW shit. They would always loan me tapes to copy over the weekend, and on Monday we would be so excited to talk about them. In my primary school we had some disabled kids, and they had these special crayons that wrote really well, so some kids would steal them and trade them for Pokémon cards and random toys. Yo, that's a bit messed up. I know, those kids are terrible people now. Please like and subscribe for more. This is Laugh with Mims. Goodbye.